Welcome back, Fright fans, for another look at some Tales from the Crypt. Today we're checking out The Thing from the Grave, starring the beautiful Teri Hatcher and written and directed by Monster Squad director Fred Dekker. The Thing from the Grave is a story about jealousy, murder, and the power of love. Oh, also there's zombies. You can't have enough zombies. The episode sort of just jumps right in there. We're thrust into the middle of Devlin, a man we know nothing about, frantically driving somewhere. He arrives at a cabin and confronts a man named Bruckner, who we already know is the bad guy because he's played by Miguel Ferrer. And when isn't Miguel the bad guy? The two gentlemen seem to be in a lover's triangle, and I really hope this woman is worth it because Bruckner seems to be a little more serious with his intentions than Devlin.
Tell me something, is that the shoulder she used to cry on?
Bruckner shoots Devlin in both shoulders, which really has to suck. I do a few sets of side laterals and my shoulders are toast. I can't imagine being shot. Where did this shovel and shallow grave come from? You know, I'm starting to think Bruckner planned this whole thing. Apparently Devlin has been a bad boy going after Bruckner's fiancée, but I'm sure these two stand-up gentlemen can talk things out. Oh geez, I guess I spoke too soon. You know, I'm not condoning Bruckner's actions here, but you really should stay away from a woman that's already involved. We then go back some time and see the reason why the two men got into their little quarrel. Every time I watch this, I think this woman is Barbara Crampton from the movie From Beyond. Devlin is a photographer and one of his models is Stacy, a lovely young lady with an obsessive manager slash fiance that we already had the pleasure of meeting. Bruckner is the kind of guy that just flips his lid if you even look at his girl. So why would he date a model? I have no idea. He understands that's her job, right? To be looked at? Devlin, in the nicest way possible, asks Bruckner to leave because clearly he's making Stacy uncomfortable, and he takes it about as well as you'd think.
He can really be sweet sometimes. I think things just haven't been going well for him lately.
Really? With you to come home to?
Alright, slow your roll, Devlin. Let's not start flirting with her right away. He actually proceeds to push further by asking if Bruckner ever beats her, which is generally not something you ask someone you don't know and who's working for you. He also offers her a key to his studio so if things ever get too heated, she can have a place to cool down. I'm sure beyond that, he only has the purest of intentions. A few hours later, well, look who shows up. Excuse me, gotta set the mood.
I guess it was pretty forward of me to give you that key, huh?
The two just go straight to making out. Stacy barely gets a high out before Devlin is jamming his tongue down her throat. He then gives her some kind of amulet that a blind woman once gave him. It's apparently a Mayan god of truth, and if you make a promise while holding it, that promise will happen no matter what.
Whatever happens, I'll be there, right? I'll protect you. I promise.
I get that Stacy is an attractive woman, but I can't say I'd be getting in the middle of two people I only just met. Now if she showed me the bruise on her like this, then I'd probably fold the guy and call the police. But Devlin here is acting like he's been in love for years. Anyways, these two start going at it completely unaware that Bruckner is watching the whole damn thing go down. But maybe he'll be reasonable about the whole thing and see the error of his ways. Alright. The next morning, Bruckner calls Devlin to tell him he knows everything, and that Stacy has run up to a cabin in the woods and needs his help. Devlin's like, oh, okay, completely unaware that it's likely a trap. The beginning of the episode then plays again and fast forward, and now Stacy is wondering what happened to Devlin. It's been a week since she last spoke to him and she's starting to worry. Bruckner, on the other hand, tells Stacy he knows she has a thing for Devlin, and then gives a phony, half-hearted apology for how he's been acting lately. Apologize all you want, that doesn't take away the beatings you gave her.
You're the best thing that ever happened to me, Stacy, you know, and I love you very much. It's probably a little late for that.
We're way past the late stage. Bruckner then takes a few digs at Devlin, telling Stacy, well, if he loved you so much, why hasn't he called in 6 days? Or, he sees beautiful women every day. He'd say anything to get into your pants. Bruckner knows Devlin is dead. I just think he's having fun toying with Stacy at this point. I don't know how he thinks this is gonna win her back though. Stacy heads over to Devlin's place to see if he's there, and just as she starts to play back the message Bruckner left, he quickly grabs her. Bruckner brings her to the cabin in the woods where he plans on murdering her, but not before, as he puts it, have a little fun first, which is pretty disgusting.
Help! Help!
Bruckner then reveals to Stacy that her little boyfriend is dead and won't be coming to save her, except his rotting corpse made a promise, and by God, he's gonna keep it. Bruckner hears a spooky noise coming from outside, and his first reaction is to shoot whatever's out there. Alright, hold up. We all know if you shoot a zombie in the head, they're supposed to die. Regardless, Bruckner is in a bit of a pickle as he has a shambling corpse on his trail that simply will not go down. Luckily, Bruckner forgets about the grave that he himself dug and he falls right in. Sure, he covered it up, but he still should have remembered where it was. Hurry up, Stacy, you're missing all the zombie fun. Zombie Devlin uses Bruckner's bloodied hand to write "She's mine" on a rock before dragging him down into the grave where he'll be buried alive. The Thing from the Grave is based on the comic of the same name found within the pages of Tales from the Crypt number 22. The cover artwork by Al Feldstein features a man being attacked by a zombie rising from its grave. The writing and artwork for the story itself were also done by Al Feldstein. James and Laura were madly in love. James knew he needed to make an honest woman out of her, but there was just one problem: Bill. Bill also loved Laura, but was a bit more aggressive in his approach. Laura worried what would happen if Bill found out she was to marry James, but James assured her everything would be fine. All's fair in love and war, you know. Shortly, the two were married. A few weeks into their marriage, James was set to be away on business for a few days. Laura worried what Bill might try while she's alone, but James assured her nothing would happen. As James drove, he came across a man standing in the middle of the road. "Bill, it's me, Bill!" James cursed Bill out until the light from his headlights showed the steel blade in Bill's hand. Bill drove the knife into James' back, and finally, Laura would be his. Bill dragged the lifeless body into the woods and dug him a deep grave where no one would ever find him. Next, he drove James's car into a deep lake, where it would be swallowed by the muddy bed. A month has gone by and still Laura wonders what happened to James. Bill tells her he likely deserted her, left her for another woman. Laura, unwilling to go into the arms of another man, angers Bill. He's tired of waiting. "Yes, I killed him. He's dead. I wanted you, Laura, and he stood in my way." Bill forced Laura into his car and brought her to an abandoned cabin with no windows, nearby where he buried James. Bill locks her inside and tells her he's gonna set the cabin on fire, because if he can't have her, then no one can. Laura shrieks for help, and out in the woods, her calls for help awaken something in the dirt. Slowly, the earth begins to open as the shambling, rotting corpse of James drags itself from its final resting place. At the cabin, Bill continues spraying kerosene all over the outer walls. With the cabin now in flames, there isn't much hope left for Laura. Just then, the corpse comes lurching out of the darkness, and Bill, who's terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought, realizes who it is. The corpse bursts into the cabin, walking through hellfire to save his one true love. Burnt and scorched, the corpse places Laura down, safe away from the fire. And now it's set its sights on Bill. Bill runs and trips, falling into the shallow grave he dug for James on that cold, dark night. "Let me go! Let me go! You're dead! You're supposed to be dead!" The Thing from the Grave is a very simple story of love and revenge from beyond the grave. There isn't a ton to it, really. Guy meets girl, girl has a crazed fiancé, the two of them get together, the fiancé kills the man, and then he comes back as a rotting corpse. If I was seeing Teri Hatcher and someone killed me, I'd probably come back from the dead to exact revenge as well. The best part of the episode really is the zombie. The makeup effects and what I believe is puppetry are really well done, especially for a show on such a small budget. Outside of a few choice words and a tiny bit of blood, the episode isn't violent or gory. There's no nudity or anything like that, so it's fairly tame overall, but it's still a lot of fun. The episode follows the comic fairly closely, though it changes a few details, like the names of the characters and how the woman in each story was going to meet her end. In the comic, she was going to be set on fire, and in the episode, well, I think Stacy's fate was going to be a little worse. It always amazes me that these comics were written for kids when they're all so dark. I definitely recommend The Thing from the Grave if you're looking for something spooky, but if you've already seen it, what do you think? Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you're having a great day and stay spooky.